Okay, I'm trying to understand why Will slapped Chris in the face. Why did Will slap Chris in the face during the Oscars? I'm still trying to figure this whole thing out. I'm talking about toxic masculinity. I want you to talk about this today. Let's talk about it together. Let's talk about Will's toxic masculine self. Come join me. I know you're going to love how we rock this one and talk about what it means to be toxic and masculine. Come check us out here on Motivated Matters. Hey everybody, how you doing? Jamion back at you again here in April with another injection of Motivated Matters. As always, hope you in a safe space, in a good place. Hope that you really have enjoyed as we start to transition in the spring. It's still a little bit nippy out here, so I'm not going to get too comfortable. We still got COVID floating around, people getting a little comfortable, but I'm not all the way there yet. You know, I'm still masked up with my executive style ascot scarf, still loving what they provide. Don't forget about executive style. They about to crack open a whole nother layer that I think everybody is really going to enjoy when it comes to premium fashion accessories. But more to come on that note. But I wanted to talk about what happened a couple weeks ago at the Oscars with old Will Smith. You know, I'm still a little heartbroken by that one. I'm just being honest. You know, I'm always being honest with y'all, sharing with you all my vulnerable side. But I looked up to that dude. I still look up to Will. But I'm like, dang, man, really? You know, I still don't understand why they had to go down that way. You know, Big Will, he just made this movie with King Richard and talked about being a narcissist, which we all know that he is, but at the same time, that don't give you the right to go around slapping people in the face just because they may have said something jokingly about your wife. And I ain't getting all into it, but still there's a time and a place and a way to handle yourself when you call Big Will. So it made me think about this whole topic. We're just gonna kickstart this topic because there's so much into it of toxic masculinity. Have you ever heard about that? Has that term been floating around maybe some of your hallways at work or some of the conversations you're having with friends and family about toxic masculinity? I know I have it with my girl. I'm learning a lot about diversity, equity, and inclusion and some of the microaggressions and some of the common language that comes with that space. And toxic masculinity keeps coming up and it really intrigues me. It really causes me to understand or want to understand how somebody could become toxically masculine. And when you look at the root cause of the definition, it's basically bigotry, racism, you know, someone that just exudes extreme amounts of masculinity without any care in the world for how they may offend someone else. You know, all the isms that you could think of are caught up in toxic masculinity. There's organizations like Manosphere, if you've heard of them. They're floating around and they're growing and they really dispel men and being vulnerable, and they just talk about being bigots and how women are beneath the earth and all these really just crazy archaic things that I don't agree with at all. But it makes me think about, how do we get to this place? How do we get to a place of toxic masculinity where you feel as though you are everything and everything is beneath you? I don't understand that. When I think about Will and the audacity he had to get up and slap Chris, it was like it shocked me to death. I look up to him so much and I'm still trying to understand, but as I read some of his books and follow his life and some of the fears and the vulnerabilities that he has, they're really paradoxical to this toxic masculinity that he has as a narcissist. But I'm just thinking about these things. I want you all to think about your family. You know, do you have certain family members that exude toxic masculinity? And I tend to believe that toxic masculinity doesn't really have a gender. You know, as we think about how the gender roles reverse and change and morph and where we are today in terms of, you know, LGBTQ plus and all these other things, like there's toxic masculinity on both sides of the gender perspective. Have you thought about maybe that boss that you've had? You know, I think about some of the bosses I've had over the course of my lifetime, and there was a lot of toxic masculinity, you know, making you feel small. And I think about women or male, like men, like I've had bosses that are, they get up every day making you feel small. Like that's their whole point in life, is to make you feel small. And I think that also impacted me with my great resignation and thought when it came to becoming an entrepreneur, because I really only want to be around people that think big, that see us all as a part of this world in equal parts, and we all can get a piece of everything and anything that we want to achieve. I'm just kickstarting this conversation because I just want to tickle you a little bit. I want you to start thinking about toxic masculinity because it's all around us. When you think about the wars that are happening between the Ukraine and Russia, there's toxic masculinity there. There's all these different areas where we're taught toxic masculinity is okay, and it's not. And I think if there's ever a point in time right now to really express your vulnerability as a man or woman and express your authenticity, is now. It's time for us to break this pendulum. It's time for us to break this paradigm, a paradigm shift in how we were brought up, especially as men, that we have to be overly masculine when inside we're hurting, we're crying, we're in pain. I think this toxic masculinity has a lot of legs, and I don't want to get into it too far, but I'm going to open this conversation up to some men, some women that I know, and we're going to dig deeper into these layers of toxic masculinity. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. More to come here on Motivated Matters. Share with your family, your friends, your tribe. Life coaching opportunities here in Q2, self-esteem, self-confidence. There's other things coming around the corner with blackberry pie and making sure you get a piece of all this abundance. I can't wait, y'all. Let's keep going. Let's make sure that we educate and make sure that we really love on each other. Y'all take care, everybody. See y'all soon.